We are in the studio with painter Megan Williamson. What were you like as a child?
I always drew, for sure. I grew up in an unincorporated area, so it was gravel roads, no lights. We had a well for water. People had horses. It was like go out for hours and come back home when it's time for dinner. So I was the fourth of five kids. At the studio school, I studied with Nick Carone. He was my drawing teacher. And after I left the studio school, he started a school in Italy, which he was talking about even then. There was a monastery outside of Todi in Umbria. I went the first year just to take what I thought was going to be a master drawing class, which was my first lesson in Italian machinations, because there was no master drawing class. It was just him. But I had absorbed so much, and I was ready to take this class and really, work with him, and then I just painted on my own. So the first 2 years there, I spent 2.5 months just painting the landscape. And then the year after that, I taught. So these are from the first 2 years. The bottom row is from the first year when I had the month out in the countryside, just on my own painting. And then the top row is the next year back. And I stayed in the same place for 2 years. I just went back. And I literally stood in the same place and did series of drawings and paintings. I had about 2 places on top of the hill, and then there was a ruin of a house of this woman I knew, and then I just stood down there in the afternoon and looked up. So it's just this very specific landscape that I was kind of obsessed with. It was such a dive into a new place and a new space and a new light and a new country that it just propelled me into finding the construction of the space without having to name the local color or the objects. So how one field met another and then went up and then something up here, and it kept pushing my work further and further into abstraction, but it's always referencing something. And then after the first couple of years in Italy, my still lifes also became just wildly abstract, even though I was working, I was looking and working. So in my mind, it's perceptual. This is always in my painting, whether or not it is something very recognizable or not. I love thinking about how you construct within the rectangle, how you reference the light that you're seeing, the objects that you're seeing, and how they interact. So they even up here start to become like symbols, because I painted the same place, and I painted, there's the olive trees or the grapes, or they start to become symbols that, as a color will hold a place, and as a shape kind of curve into and hold the space. So they kind of they're knit together or locked together.
Fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over city and harbor on silent fawn.